Max Light. He's the guy that we got the idea together, and we journeyed up from Huntington, and he was going through, and when we got as far as ITS, well, we got notices to report in to Maxwell Field, Alabama, to commence training as flying cadets, the U.S. Army Air Corps, as it was known then, instead of the Air Force. And he said that he's gonna make the move and apply for it. And I said, Max, I'm coming along very well here, and I'm at EFTS now, and I'm happy flying with these Canadians up here primarily. So I'm going to stay until I get my wings, and then I'm going to transfer back. Well, when I got my wings, I decided I was going to get what I was after. So, heck with this. I don't want to transfer to the U.S. Army Air Corps, maybe give them a staff job or some kind of a job flying drove airplanes or pulling droves. So I decided I was going to stay up there with them, and just what I did. But the CO, when we graduated at Camp Borden, he called in the Americans and inquired as to what our goals were. Were we going to apply for a transfer? And when he got to me, I said, no, if I can get assigned to what I'm looking forward to, which to be assigned to a fighter squadron with the idea that I'd go on operations as soon as I familiarized ourselves with a fighter airplane. And so that was good enough for me.
Do you recall when you were at Borden, any other Americans, did they transfer back at that time, or did they stay on too?
Yeah.
And what was the discussion? Did you chat with those fellas at the time and kind of mull it over whether you should stay or go? And was there any conversation with the other Americans there at the time?
No, because I knew a couple Americans that were in my class, and one of them, when he graduated from Camp Borden, they offered him a job as an instructor, and he took it, and he was commissioned at the time when he graduated, and I don't know what happened to him. And the Canadian government decided that instead of having us go overseas as a unit, that we'd better go out to the West Coast to defend the West Coast of Canada and maybe the state of Washington and so forth. So we did make that move instead of going overseas. Otherwise, I would have probably been overseas in the latter part of '42 on operational flying over there. See, we were posted out to Boundary Bay when we graduated. The 5 of us were. And then when we came back from the Aleutians, well, we were stationed there at Boundary Bay because they were getting us organized to go overseas.
What type of squadron? Was it going to be a fighter squadron, or?
Yeah, we were already a fighter squadron. We were 133 fighter squadron flying Hurricanes. And we were told that we would go overseas as a unit, take our ground crew with us and our administration staff and the whole work, see. So if that way we would have eliminated the possibility of having got stuck at Bournemouth for maybe 6 months before we could get to a operational squadron. So we were happy about that.
Yeah.
We had, there were at least 3 of us Americans were up there in the Aleutians flying the squadron that I was in, which is number 14. They had the previous squadron had been up there for a while and was there flying cover when we invaded Attu before I got up there. So when they were flying that area, they had quite a few escort missions and bombing and strafing, but very little, if any, enemy airplane, Japanese airplane. And the CO, I forget his name, and 4 of the other pilots in that squadron, number 12 maybe, they had a ceremony and they awarded each of those guys the American Air Medal, which was nice.
Yeah.
The opposition wasn't that great. Well, of course, if you're dive bombing and scraping and going down and taking on all that flak, well, that's pretty hazardous, so maybe they deserved to be awarded the Air Medal. But I think the Americans would award the Air Medal when you got in 5 missions. And that's what these guys did. Yeah, I wasn't too happy flying the P-40 up the Aleutians.
Why is that?
Well, I didn't think it was a good enough airplane. It was too heavy for one thing, and it wasn't as maneuverable as what I ended up on, named the Spitfires. And it wasn't as fast either. And I had a good tour out of it. I got overseas and I ended up 442 Squadron. I flew wing on Johnny Johnson for a while when he was wing commander of 126th Wing, I think it was. And on one of the missions we each knocked down a 109 or FW-190. And as you may have heard, I was awarded the DSC, which I appreciated very much. The citation was put in August or so, after I had those 73 METs, motorized enemy vehicles. So anyway, that's when the recommendation was sent in, because that's when I had those 73, because we were primarily close support, 2nd Tactical Air Force, a lot of ground stuff. So we didn't have a chance to mix with the enemy aircraft very often. So I built up my score primarily by ground targets, the 73. And so then when I also finally got my 2nd aircraft, well, that's when I think they put in for the citation, and it was pending when I had the chance to get those 2 aircraft that was added to my list later on.
Now, did you ever get any kind of a thank you from the Canadian government for your service?
Yeah, well, in addition to awarding the DSC, and I didn't get the Queen to do it because she was busy and I was busy, so about 4 or 5 years afterwards I got a notice from the Canadian Council, or not, whatever they call that, got in touch with me and said that they understood that I had the award and they'd like to have an occasion, have it presented to me. So I thought that's fine, so my wife and I journeyed down over to San Francisco and made the presentation of the Distinguished Flying Cross, which I was pleased to receive.